What's going on, guys? Welcome to Wired Wednesdays. This week I'm hosting. Of course, I'm here with Dave, the veteran miner. Sorry about being a little bit late today. I actually just gave Dave the link about a minute ago. So,
yeah,
crazy day. Used the wrong hairspray, so I'm sorry to Automatic Beats out there who watches. Today's not a 10 out of 10 for you. But what's going on, everyone? We got Crypto Craig. What's going on? Max Voltage, Retro Mike, Crypto Design Studio, Mr. the King of Vast, or the King of Mining King. I don't know what to call you anymore, King. We got everyone in here. It's good to see you guys. Good to be on the show tonight. So I guess we'll hop into it. Dave, what's new? I know we talked a little earlier today, chit-chatted about your project with the your workstation board.
Oh yeah. So that workstation board, it's a pain, to say the least. Been working really hard trying to manipulate this board, trick this board. If you guys aren't following the 7810 board, basically what we're talking about, the Dell workstation, and you can only use the proprietary Dell workstation power supply. So what I've been trying to do is power this workstation with an ATX power supply. Now, so far, because it's the power problem, right? So if these 7810s or 5810s come with like a 425 watt power supply, okay? So with that being said, you can't really, it's like what, 3060s, and that's kind of like really pushing it. You know what I mean? If you're trying to use it on Vast or something like that. So, I mean, you could get away with it possibly, but I wouldn't recommend it. So, and then the power supplies, they're kind of expensive too, and they're only proprietary to, the Dell workstations. So far we can use the factory power supply, and I can have the ATX power supply. I can trigger the ATX power supply to turn on exactly the same time as the factory power supply to Dell. So now I'm able to manipulate that. So now you can actually put an external power supply with the Dell workstation. So that's a good thing. So that's just a plug and a daisy chain. That'll work. I'm trying to eliminate the Dell power supply completely, that you can say, hey, I need like 1,000 watts, something like that. Throw an ATX power supply right in there, plug it right into the 24-pin connector. You're good to go.
Well, what's like proprietary about it? I know the PSU is proprietary, but
right.
The pins on the motherboard, I think you mentioned before, they have like 10 pins and like these weird pins. So I guess what you're saying is you could make custom cables from like an EVGA power supply and just power the workstation with that. Otherwise, you would need the Dell one.
So basically, so if you did an ATX power supply, you would have to get the cables that I make. I would make 8-pin to 10-pin, because these motherboards require 10-pin CPU connections. So you'd have to get 2 8-pin to 10 pins, and that'll cover the 2 CPU connections. So that'll work. So now we're integrating the power side, and then it's a ATX 24 pin on that board, but that board it actually gives out 5 volts to power up your SATA and your SATA cables and so forth. So for your SATA power, so motherboards don't give out 5 volts. Motherboards take in the 5 volts for the regular generic ATX 24 pin power supply. So it's just trial and error. I can get it to turn on, and then on top of that, if you want to use fans or you want to use it like a mining rig, okay? Let's say you want to use this for a mining rig, or obviously a Vast AI, that's number one. And then if you want to use it for like proof of use or work, because you want to put extension cables on there, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to actually trick the system for having fans in it now. And then the fans are proprietary. This connector's max voltage. He purchased a connector. I just take pins out and I make my own connectors. But you have to, so there's dummy connectors in the front of the board because we don't have the fans. I don't have the factory fans for when Hobbyist gave me this board. So I had to trick that to thinking that it has the fans on it too. So just like so much trial and error. It turns on. I just need to get the GPU to post. So I'm missing a couple of wires or something. Just something that's not right. That basically just to make it completely work. Almost there though, I think. I mean,
a lot of experimenting and trying to get it to figuring it out, right? I think, and we always kind of talk about it. I know Vast has been like the prime subject for a while for a lot of streamers and YouTubers and stuff like that. But it's it reminds me of back like 2016 where you didn't really have like the right stuff for. I mean, 2016 was still kind of I don't want to say a late adoption for crypto mining, but it was definitely before they had quality risers, right, and quality cables and everything like that for it. So it's kind of like exactly what you're doing, Dave, like makeshifting like this stuff to make it all work. But it's interesting. It seems like you're getting it to work. I think I posted the picture last time on the show last Wednesday where you had all your rigs up there, and it's a good shot. So
I appreciate it.
But yeah, I mean,
more and more. So it's pretty cool.
How many are you at now?
I think 7. So a total of 8 GPUs though.
Yeah.
Because I have a dual. Oh, I was verified. So I got verified on that Sunday. Remember we were talking? We just happened to talk, and I was like talking to you, I think, on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, hey, yeah. I got verified, and you were like, I was like, did you? And you were like, yeah, no, I don't think so. And then you decided to check, and you're like, holy shit, yeah. Sunday they were doing some verifications, but the thing was, I don't think single rigs are really going to get verified. Honestly, that's my opinion. I think I'm just lucky.
Because there's like an abundance of them.
Mm-hmm. I just think it's just too many single dingles. So it's just that the one was verified. The dual, I put that up like probably 2 weeks after, 2 or 3 weeks after, man. My original 3060 that's been rented since day one, nothing. You would think that would have been the first one verified. So there's no rhyme or reason or how much money Vast is making on these rigs or anything like that. It's just a matter of, I think what they feel, what Vast feels will make them more money. I think, in my opinion, honestly, what do you think? Doesn't that make sense? Like,
yeah,
if you get something verified,
hard to tell, but it's,
because if you verify everybody, it's just not going to make any sense. If you verify every single thing. So
we do have a super chat from the Mining Kiing. When is the TVM American Flag credit card? I need one. Thanks, King. It's these that's the thing. What Dave's doing right now with a lot of these cables, it's like they're not even for sale, right? It's like there'd be so many different types of cables that you would have to list online. Where it's just now, it's like if someone has a like Hobbyist Miner, right, sent you this thing. So if there's someone out there that's trying to makeshift something to work with this, then that's where they can contact you, and you can kind of get the specs and build it out for them. So it's it's like I said, it's an interesting time. But yeah, I mean, I do agree with the verification with I don't know if you said it, but I think you did say where it's like there's just a lot, right? Like single machines that are out there. It's
Yeah.
quick to put up and everything like that, and I think that they're not going to verify machines that they don't have demand for. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know. I think kind of what I'm doing is I'm looking and seeing what there's a lot of and what there's not a lot of, what's being rented, what's how much is it being rented for, so that you can get a verified machine a little bit sooner, right? Like if you have an 8-card
Yeah.
4090 rig, like you're probably gonna be verified pretty quick. And you can also see online, like if you look up a specific machine, how many are verified, how many are unverified, and you can even tell like some are verified and the reliability is not like
Right.
99.5 or something. So which means that it's probably a newish rig. But we got DJ Mines. What's up, man? Yeet 22 in the chat. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I know you're expanding with some of your stuff and things like that, and I'm expanding on some of mine as well. I know you said earlier you were teasing the idea of a 4090, and you know me, I'm team 4090 right now. But it's yeah, I don't know. I think I have 3 right now, and I'm going to hold off for a little bit and see where it kind of goes. So I don't know what the next build is going to be. I kind of got to think about it because I'm trying to build reasonable ones for like a house, like something that's kind of in that environment. So as much as I want to build one of these monster ones, know, 8 cards and stuff like that, it's like, where am I going to host it? But now I know where I can because Terra is hosting AI rigs now. So I think I didn't get to see the show last night. I didn't even see Max's show on Monday. This week has just been a little crazy, but we are doing like a soft launch at Terra for AI customers, and I know this is probably going to shock the conscience of some people, but it's going to be 25 cents a kilowatt hour, and it's going to be based on the full TDP of the rig. So there are machines that might not be profitable at that on Fast AI, but we were trying to think of a price. We wanted like an all-in-one price, and like I said, this is like a soft launch, and we're only doing it with 20 machines, and we'll guarantee it for a year. But the price will be more than that whenever we get pricing down pat. It's just right now we kind of want to, like I said, do a soft launch, test the network. I'm sorry, test the network. Really see what this kind of entails. We don't want to just open the floodgates. And everything like that, but the actual pricing will be more than 25 cents a kilowatt. And again, that's all in. Like a lot of data centers, they will charge rack space. I think the average going rate for a 1U server, just for the space, like the digital real estate in a data center, is $80 a month. So we'll, the 25 cents a kilowatt hour rate for a 2-card rig is probably going to be less. That's going to be, your power is not going to cost that much. So it is dramatically cheaper than a data center. And like I said, there's no surprise cost, right? Like if your rig uses 1,000 watts, you're going to get the same bill every month. And then you can decide kind of, how you want to go about it, switch all the price. And that would be, sorry, I was just reading the comment. Is Vistang buying any China boxes? No China boxes yet. But it's an all-in-one price. I know I keep like going around in a circle on this, but it's going to be easier for customers to kind of tell, because that's one thing when we talk to suppliers and people that are in this field is that like their bill varies like month to month, right? And a lot of data centers have like minimum power usage, right? Like if you have like a rack or something like that in there, and you're going to be billed for at least 5,000 watts no matter what you use, then you got to get billed for internet, then you got to get billed for random service. If someone comes by and like cleans it or does any kind of maintenance or anything like that, you got to pay for that. And that's like hundreds of dollars an hour, and everything like that. So it's confusing, right? And that's why we're doing a soft launch here. So I see a couple people here in the chat. Mining Kiing says that includes internet, space, electric of the unit. DJ Mine. So for example, it would be 24 cents times, say 300 watts. Yeah. So kind of, it's going to be based on the full TDP, right? So I'll use my rig as an example. I have two 4090s and an Epic processor. So it theoretically it could use around 1100 watts with the processor. I don't know if that's what we would have to kind of see, because honestly on my rigs the processors are not really used at all, but they could be, right? So it's something in there. But yeah, we would figure out what the TDP is, or whatever, 25 cents is per kilowatt hour per day for the total TDP of say 1,000 watts or 1,100 watts, and then multiply that by the number of days in that month, and then that's what your bill is going to be. So I guess actually the bill will fluctuate. Then it'll be February will be a little bit cheaper than some of the other months. So that's what we're doing right now. And again, I know that kind of like shocks the conscience of a lot of crypto miners, but in the data center field and the AI field, it's a really good rate. You're probably not going to be able to find a better rate than that, and that's why we're limiting it to 20 people, right? Is because we're trying to do that. So, Crypto Craig, what's up? GPURisers. So you're calculating assumed max TDP the entire month, or on a meter? It's not going to be metered. We're going to be. I mean, it is going to be metered. Like we'll be able to tell how much power is being drawn, on each PDU. We're probably going to go the 30 amp PDU routes on these. For now, at least. Eventually we'll have like managed PDUs and stuff, but right now, again, this is like a soft launch. We just want to see how it kind of goes. But yeah, it's going to be the assumed max TDP. And that's from a lot of the experience that I've had with Vast, a lot of experience King has had, Mike has had, Hawk, and from what Dave has told us too. Dave has been doing this. I always kind of I'm in his ear asking all these questions about it, but usually your GPUs are going to be hammered, right? Like they're going to be used quite often, as your processors will be too. So that's what it's going to be. And that's also going back to the I'll stop talking soon, Dave, don't worry. But going back to the data center side, it's King mentioned it. It's whether it's used or not. In a data center, you only have so much space, you only have so much power, and you only have so much internet, right? So it's if your build, like just say you have a 1,000 watt rig, we can't put more people and overload that circuit. Like we have to reserve that 1,000 watts for you. So that's why the more we got into this, and this has been like a month in the working, but the more we got into it, that's kind of how we got to this, right? Like we have to charge it no matter what. And everything like that. It's not like we have a megawatt of power and everyone's connected to a megawatt and it fluctuates up and down. It's limited space, limited internet, and limited power. So that's how we're doing it. And like I said, this isn't different than data centers. Data centers, I think actually most data centers for servers, like 1U servers or 2U servers, they might include the electrical cost in it, but that's not the case with like AI or GPU mining or deep learning or anything like this. That's a completely different thing, and they're going to charge you whatever they're allocating because they can't rent that out to another customer. So, but let's see. Crypto Design Studio should have an idle time rate and a running rate. Ideally, in a perfect world, yeah, we would. The problem is if we set this up and we have just a customer, John Smith, that comes in and he is, his rig or rigs use 5,000 watts, right? But he sets it, this is like a market, right? This is like an open market bid ask type thing. So, what if he just puts a price that's not reasonable, right? And he's like, well, screw it. Like I'm going to leave it at 25% above market rate. And if people aren't renting it, then I'm not really losing money. You know what I mean? My bill is going to be low. That's something that we can't, do. You know what I mean? And it's other data centers are the same way. So especially with GPU intensive, power intensive stuff, we have to do it. It's the same as like GPU hosting or ASIC hosting, right? We don't really do it. We do charge a storage fee if you go offline, but a lot of, like if you have an ASIC miner in a facility and that slot's not being utilized, then it's not really advantageous for the hosting company to be able to do that. But yeah, no, I see DJ Mines. Gotcha. Thanks. Yeah, man. Any questions? Just throw it in the chat. Mining King explaining it a little bit. Yeah, Mining King is going. What do you say? Studio, you're missing the point. It's not just the electric; it includes the fiber as well. Yeah, that's something that we really wanted. And like I said before, we've reached out a lot to like people in the AI community and stuff, and people want like to know what their bill is going to be, right? Like that's kind of fair, you know what I mean? So, you might find a facility. We've talked to people where they're like, oh, well, my data center only charges me 15 cents a kilowatt hour rate or 12 cents a kilowatt hour rate, but then they charge them space. They charge them, like I said, the time to like that they deal with, stuff during the month. All of that is included with our rate. They also charge the fiber as well. So you're paying 15 cents per kilowatt hour rate, but that includes no internet. You know what I mean? So it's like, then you add internet to it. And then if you average, dissect that cost, that total cost for the month that you're paying, the per kilowatt hour rate's probably going to be like closer to 50 cents. And that's really what Terra is doing, is we're trying to be the middle ground for data centers. We're not an AWS, we're not, a Hetzner or anything, not yet, but we're not that right now, but we're trying to gear it towards people that are in the AI, deep learning, crypto mining, like that kind of field. And again, make it like an all-in-one price. That's really what we want to do. So what I can tell everyone is 25 cents is definitely going to be the cheapest. Now, I do want to point out 25 cents is turnkey, because we were back and forth with this for a little bit. And 25 cents includes, everything. So just say you want to get a parts list, right? And just send us all the parts. We'll build the rig for you. Of course, there's going to be a setup fee, nothing outrageous. It'd probably be $150 to put the whole thing together for you. One-time fee, not tacked on anything. And then literally all you would have to do is just create an account on Vast, or we're also working with other companies. I know King has been dealing with TensorDoc and RunPod, and there's Fluid Stack. Like there's a couple other companies that we're working with. But it's turnkey. So you make an account, you give us the info that we need, we set it up for you, and you just log in and set your price. There's no other thing that you have to do. So I think that's a big thing too. It's not just like we, set it up and give you the SSH information. We just say good luck. You know what I mean? Because it still is a little complicated. And but luckily we have the Vast King setting all this stuff up. So we got Mining Kiing saying a lot. I can't over provision the power in the event that should probably put these in here. But Mass Boost says you're not making money if your customer is idle. Yes, that's true. And like I said, if there wasn't a loss from that, then us and other companies would do it. But we have to allocate that power to you. We have to make sure that power is available and the fiber is available. That's a big thing as well. Now, these 20 customers that are going online will have a gigabit fiber connection, mainly because all these are gigabit NICs on these, workstations and all these motherboards that are going live. But that's something we want to test too, right? So we can always bump up the fiber speed if it tends to get oversaturated. You're not going to be pinging right 1 gig up, 1 gig down, because that's just not how these motherboards will work. With the testing that we've done before, it won't be like that. It will be good. It will be a lot better than what shared fiber is, but we have to see the saturation really. But if it starts to get oversaturated, we can always just up the speed to that. So that's a good thing. Like I said, it's a learning process really. We have everything else in place, but it's going to be a learning process. So
I mean, what do I have? I have 7 rigs on my primary internet right now.
Mm.
And they mark out from like 800 to like 700, and all of them, they're all like, that's what they say. But so far I have not one problem on my home internet at all, and that's just one line, man.
Yeah.
So like I think they want to see the bandwidth, but I don't think they really use a lot, man. Like how it works. I mean, it looks like they download a lot in the beginning, but like you said, it's like, what's the difference between a gig and 800? You know what I mean? It's as long as you have it, I think it's good. You have to have it, I think, to basically when they do the testing. I think when they do a benchmark for you, like when you first get into it, and Vast is doing like a small benchmark on your system, I think that's probably the most evasive thing that happens when Vast does the benchmark for you.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah. Yeah. So
we,
it's,
you know, it's a learning curve. You know,
yeah.
how many systems can you actually put on a 1 gig service?
Yeah.
That's the main question. You know,
It is. Yeah. And that's something we want to see, and we won't know until we have some analytics from it. So we know we could do 20,
right?
right? We know that that's going to be fine, but it's kind of like a test, right? Because it's like if there is a problem, or it's like, you're only getting like 500 download or an upload, it's like not hitting the right points. Well, you're going to be under contract for a year for 25 cents fully managed. You know what I mean? And
Right.
that's big. So it really is kind of be like, hey, be our little guinea pig type thing. But I know DJ Mines mentioned something with pricing, so I'll use my rig for example here for you guys, so that you can kind of see what the profitability here is.
Well, it's just like every 1,000 watts, Mike. Every 1,000 watts is 25 cents
Yeah,
an hour. Just put it like very simple math, right? What, kilowatt hour? Every 1,000 watts is a kilowatt hour. So every 1,000 watts that's used in an hour would be 25 cents. And then it's going to be what, $6 or something like that for the 24 hours if it was 1,000. And then you have a thing?
yeah. I just
That
pulled
does
it
it?
up so that
Oh, that's nice.
I can kind of give a little bit of example because, like I said, some people we,
Yeah,
want you guys to go and run these numbers yourself, like see if it makes sense, right?
of course.
So I know Dave was giving me a whole rundown on electric, and today I kept saying like random numbers. He's like, "It's this number." I'm like, but Dave was right. So it's
okay.
but this is kind of what my rig uses, right? This is what we would charge for a rig that's set up, and we actually do have a current client who is building out pretty much the exact same. I want to say King, the exact same rig as the 3 that I have. I have 3 rigs that are each 2-card 4090s with an Epic. So right now it's, just say 1,000 watts, right? That's what we would charge for that rig. It's $42 a week, right? But that rig on Vast right now makes right around 85. So it's your total cost for internet power and everything like that is right about half of what your revenue is. And that's 85 after the Vast fee. So the Vast fee takes 25%, which is crazy. If Vast is watching this, that's crazy. But good for you guys making a killing. But yeah, so it's your total overhead is half of what you're kind of generating on this setup, right? That's not bad, if you compare it to crypto mining and everything like that. So King said, 1 second, DJ. King said GPURisers, he's building 2 rigs, dual 4090s, I believe, from our convo. Okay, so 2 of them. And the DJ says, so 168 for the month. Sorry, hard for me to see on my phone. Yeah, it would be a month. I kind of go by week. It's the same numbers, right? It's just going to be 4 times whatever the weekly one is. But the reason why I kind of calculate everything by a week is because Vast AI pays out every week. So you can kind of see like, what it is. And of course that's assuming it's $85 with about 90% rental rate. But since I've been verified on Vast, I haven't had anything drop off. It's been constant. And then I had about 2 weeks of 2 of the rigs being 24/7. And now that I'm verified, that $85 a week actually can go up a little bit. I'm still like, if you look on 4092 card rigs that are verified, I'm like pretty low. So that's kind of where I go, or where I'm kind of getting at. And yeah, DJ, it's 168 a month. But if you compare it to crypto mining and everything like that, those margins are like really, really razor thin. Sometimes they're negative, right? So having your entire overhead and fully managed service for everything only being 50% of what your revenue is pretty good. It's actually really good. So, but yeah, if you guys want to build these things out, we can do that. Again, this is like a soft launch. We have a lot of things going in the background with a lot of these companies, so we don't want to, blow open the doors right away with everything like that, and kind of just easing into it, right? So, Detroit Irish, you rich bastards in your 4090s, yeah, it's I don't know. I'd say it every time. I'm just trying to like consolidation, right? Like it's a price per compute power, so you can have 10 of one card or 1 card of 1 card. You know what I mean? So it's kind of which way you want to go. So
I just have to say, I
Retro
just want
Mike,
to put
are
it
you
in.
factoring? Huh?
Go ahead. Say it. Read. Where were you going to read?
I was just going to read Retro Mike. So are you
Yeah.
factoring in chipset, board, accessory power? Also, how are you doing CPU when that is a thermal rating and not actual power draw? We're using the TDP of the CPUs. And again, this is not like the 25 cents per kilowatt hour is an estimate. It's going to, like I said, 24090s is 900 watts. That's a TDP. And from what I've seen, from my rigs, because I do monitor my rigs, I want to know what people are doing on them and everything like that. So I've seen those cards at 440 watts. Those things are pulling. Yeah. So they're estimates. It's a broad estimate. But then also the CPU I have in there can do like 200 watts. You know what I mean? So technically it could be 1200 watts, but the CPU is not really used when the GPUs are running. If it's like a majority of the people that are on mine are doing something on Python. So we're doing 1000 watts. That would just be the estimate, and it's not perfect. It's not a complete accurate reading. It's not going to be 1023 watts and go that route. Eventually we will have monitored, but right now it's going to be just TDP estimates. So, and let's see, Crypto Craig, Mining Kiing, you may want to watch that. Retro Mike likes to really push his shiz to the limits. Yeah, maybe with Retro Mike we'll watch yours. We'll put meters on yours. But yeah, no. So it's exciting, and I got my 3 rigs on Vast, and I think I've showed you guys here. I'll switch it over to that just so you guys can kind of see what share screen Vast. Okay. Oops. Yeah, you can kind of see as it grew. I had these 2 weeks right here. And those were good weeks. Like I said, 90% rental rate. And then I had this week with 2 rigs, but one was down the entire time. I had issues with it because that's another thing, right? Like Vast, if there's something horribly wrong with your Vast machine, like it'll come up with an error. But sometimes you just have out of date NVIDIA drivers and stuff. So like I just didn't have anything good on there. And then my one good rig was overpriced like substantially. So it's kind of a mess, but I have 3 going on now. I'm not going to switch over to the machines section to show you guys, but all 3 are rented.
What were you rented the first week, Mike? A 1660 for $17.62?
No, I don't know. It was like I said, it was a learning. This has been a learning curve. It goes off, it goes on, then you get shit reliability, so then you got to reset the whole thing. It's crazy, but
in the beginning, it was pretty tough.
Yeah,
I'll let you know.
This I think was when I was in Kansas, and I didn't have time to mess with it. But I have 3 rigs on now. My last payout was Friday at 757, and so far this week, it's $201, but really you net 151. So it's Wednesday, so I have 2 more days, on this week. Vast is killing it. Good for you guys making the $50.
Right.
But
oh my God, the amount of money.
Yeah.
From everyone.
So it makes sense, right? That's something that I kind of wanted to explain to everyone. Yeah. So let's see. Retro Mike, my point was that the TDP ratings on CPUs are thermal draw ratings for coolers. It's not the power the CPU actually draws electrically. Triple digit thermals or bus, Craig. Yeah, like I said, Retro Mike, it's going to be an estimate. We're not going to charge you for 225 watts for an EPYC processor, but we'll probably charge you 100 watts. It's kind of like like I said, testing the waters. We will have metered PDUs, and eventually people's bills will be exact. You know what I mean? But right now it's estimate. So not exact as in like if you're idling and stuff, but we'll know, what you're pulling and average that out and then do a bill based on that. So it's always something fun here, Dave. Overboard Tech, yes. Yeah. Thermal load, not power wattage, at least on AMD. Crypto Craig, you can't fry an egg on it. They're just not pushing enough. Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's like King said here. It's a test, right? So And it's a lot of people, I know everyone hears about like the cheapest power, right? If you have cheap power, like everyone knows about it. But at my home here in South Florida, I actually pay like 16 cents a kilowatt hour rate. And so if I put in my garage, I have like a mini split in there. Just when I'm working, I don't want to suffer during the summer. It's honestly underpowered. I should have consulted Dave more on that, because Dave has a killer split unit in his garage, but he has a 240. I have this little 120 that's sitting there screaming the whole time. But
I remember you saying, like, why did you do that? You're like, listen, it works. And I'm like, okay. I was like, but, it's more efficient to have, like,
Yeah. So, I mean,
20, but
exactly. So, like, how I kind of think about it, right, is like 16 cents per kilowatt hour rate, but I'm probably paying more than that because that AC is going to be working harder, right, in Florida. So maybe it goes up to 18, 19. And then if you need fiber that's dedicated to it, or you want to, allocate X amount of bandwidth or speed to that machine, which I don't know the networking capabilities. I don't know how to do that, but I know King does. Then maybe I would have to pay for a little more speed on fiber, right? Like I might have to up my fiber from 1 to 2 or something like that, so that it doesn't interrupt my Netflix and all the streaming and stuff like that. So that's kind of how I see it, right, as a customer. So right now, like I said, I have 3 of these, but with Terra for 25 cents per kilowatt, and especially with the rigs that I want to build in the future, like these 8-card 4090 monsters and stuff like that, and a 5000, 6000, which the A5000s and 6000s, I mean, an A6000 rents for more than a 4090 and has half the TDP, so your numbers are going to be really good for that. And that's
what
kind
I wanted
of
to touch base really quick. This is the second time you were saying that on like TDPs. Listen, just the customers out there, or basically you guys out there, maybe new, that don't really like type in a chat or whatever. This is for like someone that will be new. Be careful on the wires that you get, regardless of what you're doing, because serious shit. You're gonna have these TDPs, like you said, Mike. I think it was like 10 watts off a TDP. I've seen my cards at for a long time. And with the hosting thing of what you guys doing at the data center, what's pretty cool is that I'm having a little bit of heat issues. I was talking to you about that right now. So I'm situated that my mini split, my mini split unit can handle probably at least 20, 30 freaking like cards easily, like each individual at full TDP. Easy in my garage, because my mini split is basically, it's like for like double the size of garage. That's what it's made for, because I was mining doing Ethereum and everything else in the garage earlier when we were mining. So but like the wires is this key. Let's make sure you do your research and stuff like that, and just get the right stuff. That's all. I'm not saying you got to buy my wires. I'm just saying in general, you don't want your shit to burn down. Especially the amount of money. If you're doing new rigs and everything else, I mean, it's just not worth it, man.
Yeah.
Just do
100%.
That's
why I use your wires on all mine. Yeah, it's like, with 4090s and stuff getting pushed to those limits and stuff like that, it's, you don't want to, I'm using power supplies from 6 years ago. They're EVGA 1600 watt power supplies, but those wires over time kind of degrade, and those were, that whole power supply was probably pushed to the limits with a 1080 Ti. You know what I mean? It's a different world now, so it's super important.
It's just increasing as the time goes on. These cars are increasing in power and power. Before you know, the norm is going to be like a freaking 1200 watt power supply just to have a gaming computer, man. Yeah, let's be honest. It's going to be there before you know it.
But yeah, I mean, I know, like I said, the numbers kind of shock the conscience a little bit when you look at it, like, oh wow, half my bill is going to, half my revenue from my, for my example of my 4090 rig, half my bill is going to overhead. But then at your house, if you're, at 16 cents like I am, and you have AC, which bumps it to 18, and then if you start running into internet problems and stuff, it goes from like, maybe if you did it at your house, it might be worth it for you, right? Like I'm still going to do it at my house and stuff like that, but it's not, it doesn't go from like 50% of your bill down to 0, right? It's going to go to like 35% or something. And then you're paying for security, you're paying for, good cooling and, keeping your cards clean and everything like that in a data center environment. and also reliable fiber. Reliability is huge.
Right.
If you once you shit the bed with reliability on VAST, you can become unverified, which is a problem. So that's all the kind of things that we offer. Like I said, I'm not trying to sell it because I know 25 cents is cheap for this, and a lot of people might think that that's bullshit, but it is very cheap for data center hosting, and it's an all-in-one price. So
just do the math on everything. You just have to do the math on everything, right? I mean,
exactly.
look, like I was saying, I was having a little bit heat issues, but I decided, because I know how much it costs to put the mini split on. Is it cost effective? The mini split will get cost effective when I put more rigs in the garage. And it's getting cooler anyway, but it doesn't make financial sense to do that. So what I do, I put a fan on it, because the 3060s, the two 3060 rig, they're very, very close. And of course, like trial and error, you think you're doing the right thing, but you're trying to be cautious. You're trying to be conscious of the amount of electricity that you're spending. So
yeah,
I didn't put my fans on that high. I think I had them on at 60%. And on these Dell workstations, you can't change them on the fly. You would have to put the rig on standby, reset it in the BIOS, and then put it back online. All my rigs are being rented, so it's just like, you know what? It's okay. Let me put a fan on there. It looks stupid, but it'll accomplish the goal for now, and then we'll move forward from there
as they roll in.
Yeah,
right?
it is what it is.
Yeah, but it's we have Ivan Yoon asking, how much are you renting out your 4090? Each 4090 is set at 40 cents. And that was kind of during the unverified. Actually, no, my one unverified 4090 rig, I actually have at 30 cents. I undercut a lot on that just because I wanted to get a good reliability and hopefully get verified sooner. No one really knows how that works, but I do have those at 30 cents, the unverified. And then the 40 cents 4090s, I am going to up to around 43 to 45 cents per GPU. And so whoever's off of it, whenever they get off of it, it'll switch over to that for the next user. But it's, but yeah, I mean, we've said a couple times, it's really just compute, right? So it's, it doesn't really matter what card it is. The earnings will be in relation to that, right? Like the more expensive the card is, the more your earnings will be. But you could buy a 3090 for this price, rent it for this price, and it's a cheaper card, but you're getting less amount, but it's all within like 10% of each other. That's what's crazy about it. So you can't really go wrong, I think, with what card. I mean, you could go wrong, but you know what I mean? Like one of the compute cards here. So
4090s are nothing, right, Mike?
Strive for Success says, what BTU mini split do you have? What do you got in there, Dave?
What?
Strive for Success is asking, what BTU mini split do you have?
I think it's 18 or 20K or something like that.
Okay, nice. I think mine's 12.
Yeah, I mean, that's the norm. Like on a nice big 2-car garage, Mike, a 10 or 12 or something is more than enough.
Yeah. Not when you have a bunch of rigs in it and a server rack.
Absolutely not. So
it will everywhere.
At a certain point, it's not going to be cost effective because it'll never shut off. Yeah. After a certain amount of cards, I never, like I said, everybody knows that usually watches the show. I've never been the one to get hundreds of cards. I was never in my game plan. The game plan was opening up the business. So that's where all the money went, was in the business in the beginning. I do have a decent amount of cards, but it's just trading up now. Now we're just trading. Maybe I guess maybe not trading up, just trading in a different way for what I'm doing right now, for planning for proof of use of work. That's my plans. So we'll do mining, proof of use of work, and everything else. So just
you got Homebrew Crypto that's asking, is Veteran Miner sending his VAST rigs?
No, I will not be. I'm actually trying to work on something at my shop with fiber as well. So yeah,
and it's also kind of like what we were saying,
it's
right?
Expensive.
A lot of it's not going to make sense for everyone. If it might be profitable at home to do it, because a 3060 does not spew off a lot of heat. It's easy, it's a lot more simple and less complex than 4090s, 3090s, and stuff like that. So it doesn't necessarily make complete sense to do it on such a small scale. We are accepting these, But just know, like I said, run these numbers. You know what I mean? Like I'm showing you guys exactly what I made on 2 of these cards, and it makes sense, right? Like 50% of what your revenue is for your overhead, that makes sense. But run these numbers yourself. You know what I mean? So go on Vast, go on, all these other. I think we're only doing Vast in the beginning. For the foreseeable future, let me before King shoots me. It's the foreseeable future. We're only doing Vast. Run your numbers. You know what I mean? It might make sense for you. It might not. If you have if you have it in a room and your AC's pounding because you have 4 4090s or 4 A5000s in there, then yeah, it might be worth it for you because you're going to have more overhead. You're increasing your overhead on top of the electrical rate. So yeah. And Mining Kiing, GPURisers, we have another client for AI now. Alrighty, nice. And I'll convince Dave to do it as well. No, I'm kidding, Dave.
Well, what I was saying about expensive, it probably came out the wrong way. Saying expensive about getting the internet, I was saying, it's expensive. Like I want to do this at my shop because it's a little cheaper. Like power depending, like how they're gonna structure it because it's commercial. So if I use a certain amount of power, it might actually go up a kilowatt hour. Like I'm not 100% sure. I didn't take a big deep dive yet, but the fiber guy, came to my shop today again, and he was like, across the street they're getting pricing, and now that they're going to be doing across the street, it should be a little bit better now to get to your thing. Like, I think it's overpriced. That's my opinion. I think the fiber quote that I got is a little overpriced.
Yeah. I guess you can go to competitors, right? Or is it only one?
There's nobody else around.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
Even though I have fiber at my house and I have cable option for internet as well, that company, they're not expanding.
Yeah.
It's but this other company is expanding, Metronet. So, I mean, we'll see. They're actually coming into my neighborhood now too. I think I told you that too.
Yeah. I remember I was on the phone with you actually when you were yelling at the dude that was put on the market.
Hey, what are you doing in my block? What's going on?
But we have Retro Mike here saying, are you doing 20 customers or 20 total machines? It's going to be 20 total machines. So if one customer said, hey, can you host 20 workstations, we probably wouldn't do it, honestly, because we want some, diversity. And this is a test for us. Not like, oh, we have nothing set up, send us your stuff. Like, we're good to go for this. It's just we don't, with stuff like this and reliability, it's not like an ASIC or it's not a GPU rig where if it goes down, it's not like the end of the world, right? Like, these machines have to get verified. They have to have crazy uptime. So like, we don't want to bite off more than we could chew, and we want to roll this out the right way. So it's going to be 20 total machines, and then we could do a lot of testing. We'll probably do that for about a month, honestly. Get the analytics off of it, and then we'll probably open it up in batches. But again, the pricing is something that we're not firm on. It's definitely going to be more than 25 cents per kilowatt hour rate. It's definitely going to be more than that. But we don't know exactly what it's going to be. But we know 25 cents is going to be a very good rate. It's not going to be less than 30. It's going to be more than that. So, and again, this is more geared towards multi-card rigs, right? And this is a very good rate for A4000s, 5, 6000s, A100s, H100s, at that kind of 4090s, and then everything else to come. So, but if you want to do it as a hobby, then send one over. And like I said, this is turnkey. Right. So like what you see here on my Vast thing, you're going to be getting payouts as long as you're not setting the price to be something ridiculous that the market can't control. That's one thing you are going to have to do is research what these cards are going for, what they're renting for, and put a reasonable price on it. So you're paying for the electric anyway, so you might as well price it right.
And you don't have to worry about your rigs being cooled down or anything like that. You have the full service there. That's another thing too.
Yeah.
Like, when we're doing this at home, we have to make sure we're checking things. There's maintenance. There's things that need to get changed or something. Like you just don't like kind of set it and forget it for the most part. It all depends, man.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And I do want to point out, and none of this is concrete or anything like that, but it is a data center environment. It is possible, and we are working actively working towards it, but it's you. If you're verified and you have good uptime, you can rent your rig for more, right? Than at your house. If you have better speeds, you can rent it for more. So the more that it's maintained in a data center environment, the more you'll make. Even if you save a little bit by having it at your house, and also some of these companies out there, they have certified data centers. Not saying that we're going to do that or anything, but we are actively going to work towards something like that. It's not guaranteed. I don't want to guarantee that. None of that is guaranteed. But on Vast and these other platforms, they do, and Proof of Useful Work is going to have the same thing, right? Like certified data center, and then customers are going to want and pay more for something that is in an environment like that. So that is something to keep in mind. But for right now, right, just take it as reliability, take it as upspeed, upload, download, and uptime, which is reliability. So take it as that. But it is possible in the future. Who knows? Who knows what the future holds? Detroit Irish, it got de-verified. Oh, damn, dude. I think when it actually gets de-verified, you have to just make a new one, right? I don't know. That's what I think I've read.
De-verified on what? Not Vast.
On Vast, I think, right?
I wonder, Detroit Irish.
Yeah, he said unverified crew right here, and then it's actually de-verified.
De-verified on Vast or something else? I didn't think they were de-verified on Vast.
I'm trying to keep up with the chat here. Let's go. We got Brian Hollywood, $2. Mining Kiing, will we have back-end access? No, we won't. Just like King do that. We will have a full-service back-end access. No, it's not right now. I think that's the best. Is that okay, King? Not right now. Is that a good one to say? I'm joking, man. King has, by the way, been killing it with this networking stuff. Like sometimes we're on Discord and we're going over some business stuff, and he's showing me this stuff, and it's like it's out of this. I know I have a Wi-Fi mesh system. Everyone gives me shit for it. I love this Wi-Fi mesh system, but what he's doing is nuts. It's even these things. Like we were up there the other day. And I plugged in, there's a test rig on Vast, right? Like we were just, before we're going to accept even a small group, we're going to do a test. And I plugged this thing in. He beep, boop, bop, gave me a couple codes or whatever, and boom, he has access. He can install Ubuntu, he can install Windows, he can do it. And I know a lot of people in the chat are very technical with this stuff, but getting to that point is amazing. You know what I mean? And King has just been killing it, like doing amazing with this stuff. So
just super exciting stuff. That's it. Type T.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. He's second TL Mining, GPURisers. How many slots available for the Terra AI Trail? Trial, or is it the 20? We're gonna have 20 rigs. 25 cents per kilowatt, all in, fully managed. You just log into Vast and set your stuff. Mining Kiing said we have 17 slots now. Yeah, we announced it last night. We did. Mike and Jared, or Mining Kiing and Hawk Crypto Mining announced it on Terra Hash Tuesday last night. So we do have people coming in. Like I said, one client is basically we're sending him links on what to buy. And I do want to point out I know I keep going on. Dave, just tell me to stop sometimes. You just gotta be like, Mike, it's too much. But
I like it. Give me more info.
Terra is this is also something I've been kind of working on in the background with we have a new CEO. His name's Frank. Hopefully we got to get him on the show, Dave. I gotta bug him about that. Frank.
I've been telling you.
Yeah.
You know what?
So
Let me call him. I'll call him up.
I'll bug him a little bit, but I've been working with him a little bit and Mike, Hawk Crypto Mining. We are going to be setting up like I don't want to call it a shop, but we are going to have a separate website, separate sister company, I guess you could call it, and it is going to be for sales. So we actually will be building these rigs and have it turnkey, and it'll be very better competitive pricing than you can find for any deep learning machine out there. We are going to make money on the build. We have to. It's going to be a lot of man hours that go into it and everything, but. Right. Our idea is that we're going to build the rig, set it up for us, basically, and have it running, but it'll also be for sale. And then we can sell it, of course, with a year hosting contract and stuff like that. But that's that, I think. We got Chump Change, man. What's going on, dude? Detroit Irish. GPURisers Mining Kiing. 2 GPUs to start. Can we add more later? Yes. this, like I said, this is kind of a trial. And let me just throw this out there. If you guys do have like an E10 or something like that, and you want to load it up with like 10 A4000s or something, like we might be able to make something work with it. But just reach out to us. You know what I mean? That's something. But 20 is where we want to be, 20 machines, and we want these to be kind of, we know a lot of people in the community are doing workstation builds. I'm doing desktop builds. Not really the E10s. I don't even know if they've been delivered yet. But if you have a setup that's kind of like that, definitely reach out to us. And we're going to kind of take that as a case-to-case basis. But we're looking just for 20 right now. But we probably can accommodate that at some point soon, or now, or I don't know. I'm not supposed to say anything, but reach out. That's all I can say.
I'm not supposed to say anything.
King said yes at a later time. Yes, later is very broad term. King could mean tomorrow, could mean next month. King always jokes with me about that. Give you guys a little story time for 30 seconds. When we first started, we were in talks with Flux, and we still are. We're Flux Labs partners and stuff like that. And we were talking with some people there. I'm not going to name names, but you probably know who I'm talking about. But they were like, I think it was 10 Titan nodes. We can host 10 Titan nodes for you. And this was like in September, I think September last year. And they were like, when are you going to have them online? And I said November. I was like, we can have them up in November. And we didn't even have the place rented by November. You know what I mean? We thought we were going to be in Palm Beach down here near Hawk and Maine. It's always a joke now. But what's funny, and I never said a year for which November, and November's like 6 days away, Dave. So, yeah. And those Titan nodes actually are in the process of getting lit up. So we might be ahead of schedule, right, King?
Wow.
Who knows? But
that's funny.
Yeah, it's So I don't give time frames really anymore. But I feel like King, I'm rubbing off on you a little bit. A later time, a reasonable amount of time. Let's see. De-verified on Vast. Yeah, Detroit Irish. I think maybe you might have to just redo that one.
Yeah, it was he sent me a link of what happened. It's really shitty. About the modem and everything else, and everything was locked, and basically they just screwed him. He couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So I think so basically it probably was showing that, hey, what are you doing? You didn't like try to fix it, or you didn't. If you have no internet, what are you supposed to do? Run and take the rig somewhere and try to get internet, but then that's not going to work because all these IPs and everything else are, I don't know.
Yeah.
That sucks though. So these are the pros and cons, like basically right there, of having something that's like a shared internet or a dedicated tunnel that you're not going to get shut off. You're going to have redundancies. You're going to have, all these other safeguards, because it's not mining. Like that's the whole thing. This is not mining, man. This is a whole different animal.
Yeah.
If your thing goes down, you're going to be pissed off, but it's not the end of the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
These things go down, it's almost the end of the world. And what's really crazy is that I didn't know I was having a heat issue on those 3060s, right? The dual 3060 rig. The freaking thing got verified, Mike. I shit you not. It got verified at 65%. I was like,
yeah, again, we don't know how they do it.
Random?
Right?
Like,
yeah, it must be
dude.
Somewhat random, man. Yeah.
I saw it that Sunday, and I was telling you, I was like, oh my God, I got verified. And all of a sudden, it went to like 70%. So it shut off somehow. It must have thermal or something happened. It shut off, and it got verified right there. So I was like, holy crap. So yeah, it's really random.
Yeah.
But so far, so good. And hopefully we get no storms. You're going to hear me pissing and moaning and groaning about it, because my electric, man, is so crappy.
Yeah, I know your electric goes out.
Yeah. Brand new house, too. It's just like, jeez.
I have an older home. It's built in the late 60s. But yeah, I had power go off for almost 2 days. Or no, it was actually 2 full days. Remember that?
Yep.
And it was it's like the weirdest thing. It was the Comcast or who was it? AT&T. I don't know. One of those is probably Comcast. But they were up on the pole, and they moved the pole a little bit, or they hit it, and like all the wires that went from the transformer on the pole to my house, all but one wire just got ripped out, just pulled right out of the house.
That's crazy.
And it's like, it was nuts. But that's the thing, right? Like, at the data center, we don't, like, all of our wires that go to the pole are underground to our transformer, which
Right.
then is underground to our switch gear. So I think we lost power once at the data center, and it was very, very quick. You know what I mean? It was on so fast, and they were doing construction right along a railroad track, and they were installing electric there. So I think they did that, which kind of pissed me off because they, but we don't really have any, names on the building or anything, and I don't think that they knew, or maybe they did try to ask and we weren't there, but it was really quick, right? And that. It's been about almost a year. We've had this thing for almost a year. That's crazy.
Wow.
Detroit Irish said, started the rig over after 2 weeks, stuck on de-verified Bright House, screwed him on that one. Yeah, Bright House that's the internet, right?
Yeah.
I lived in Orlando for like 8 years. I think that Bright House or Spectrum, or did Bright House buy Spectrum? I don't remember. I don't know.
It was Bright House, and I think it's Spectrum now.
Yeah.
I think Bright House is Spectrum. I don't know. They're all shit at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You just gotta hope for the best.
Brian Hollywood, looking for a pool to put my 40 gigahash on Radiant. Got to message the king, the Radiant King, or whatever king you are today. You're the king of all. I think you should be called the king of all trades. Let's see. Blue Dragon Mining. Is that marketplace open to individuals selling their own equipment? I thought we talked about this today, Blue Dragon Mining, for everyone in the chat. I think everyone knows he obviously works with us at Terra, and he is his role, real quick, was always director of sustainability, right? We were looking at doing a sustainable data center in Indiana. We still are, but it's just not in our 2-year plan right now. But he was always the director of sustainability. But recently we've been redoing a lot of the way that the company's structured. We have a lot going on kind of in the back end of things. And Ben is, or not Ben, sorry, Blue Dragons. I don't know if you want your name out there, but it's actually on the website of Ben. I can say it. Ben. Ben is the...
I'm saying it, and that's it.
He's the chief administration officer. So he is going to be taking... he's going to be managing Kansas a lot more. So anyone hosted over in Kansas or shipping stuff there or anything like that will likely be in contact with Ben. Along that, me, Jarrett, Mike, and Frank now, he we'll still be there. It's not like we're not ever going out there or anything like that, but we needed like a facilities manager, you know what I mean? Because we have people there every day, right? Like there's people that and we pay for it, but they're there every day. And if we have any problems or anything like that, they're there. But Ben is going to be the facilities manager for Kansas. And then I'll be able to allocate more time to Melbourne and kind of, like I said, there's a lot going on. We have back to what Ben said, marketplace open to individuals selling their own equipment. Yes, it'll be, right now we have it on our Discord, and we notice clients kind of like doing this where they'll, sell these GPUs to, client A to client B. And we want to expand on that and also set up a, marketplace for stuff that, if you want to eventually, if you want to buy an 8-card A6000 server, you can buy it from us. And it'll be built by us, it'll be managed by us, and it'll be cheaper than any other 8-card A6000 rig or 5000 rig that you can find online by far. Like these systems, these deep learning systems are ridiculously expensive. So we're going to be offering for sale those. We also have a whole nother thing with ASICs coming. Don't want to expand too much on it. Detroit Irish is saying I'm leaky Mike 2.1. Yeah, we will also be in the ASIC market soon. Actually, right now. So you can actually contact us right now if you do want to, of course, host ASICs. But if you want to purchase ASICs, we'll be able to offer probably, I don't want to say definitely, but if you find a cheaper price from a reputable seller, we're going to be able to beat that for the most part. 9 times out of 10, we'll be able to beat that. And of course, offer hosting and stuff like that. So we're still figuring it all out, but it's all coming very soon. Marketplace for that, ASIC sales, the data center side of stuff now going. So everything's moving along here. It's going. Let's see. New England Crypto. What's up? Hope you're all having a great night. I was over in Charlie Lynn's stream supporting him and saw the notification. Oh, thanks for coming by, man. Yeah, Charlie Lynn's a great guy. I met him for the first time at Bitcoin Miami, or Miami Bitcoin, or what was that one called, Dave?
Mining Disrupt.
Mining Disrupt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great guy.
He was there. Yeah, he was there. That's where we met him. Mining Disrupt.
Yeah. Homebrew Crypto said, what are the plans for redundancy? Okay, so, I mean, this is something we're always open about, right? Our whole building is not fully redundant. Nodes and stuff of that magnitude, like Cumulus nodes and Titan nodes and everything like that, we do have a power redundancy for. If it's not there right now, it is going to be there in like a week. But that is going to be redundant. But we do not have power redundancy for, our 300 kVA, 800 amps that we're that's the first wave for this AI stuff is going to be 800 amps. We don't have a backup for that. It's in the plans. It definitely is in the plans, but right now we don't have a timeline for it. But it's going to, I don't want to say it's not going to matter all too much. But like I said, we don't ever lose power there. Where the building is right next to like a lot of defense contractors for the United States, for the military and all of that. So like we don't really have a power issue at all at that facility. So, and all the lines are underground and everything like that. Like there would have to be like a catastrophic event for that to happen and everything like that. But that's also why Homebrew Crypto, we can offer way cheaper prices than traditional data centers. Is because we don't have like these, 6 redundant lines of fiber coming in and everything like that. So, yeah, if you're worried about redundancy and uptime and everything like that, just reach out to us. And we could talk to you a little more about it and kind of ease your mind about things. And that's also going to be analytics for these 20 that are coming online, right? Like if they're online for a month and there's 0 hiccups, that kind of shows a little something too. So Oval Board Tech. Let's see. Brian Holly. Retro Mike's pool is where I went after the King pool shut down. Okay. King, did you permanently shut it down? Blue Dragon real quick said, will there be a section for server sales on top of GPU and ASIC sections? Yes, there will be. There's going to be, like I said, it's not set in stone, but this is 90% of what it's probably. The ASIC is going to be its own website. ASIC sales are going to be set up differently. It's going to be very turnkey for everyone. You don't have to deal with wiring strangers money or wiring money to this bank in Hong Kong, and you just hope to God something comes from it. So it's going to be set up a little bit differently. The other one, the marketplace, is going to be for GPUs. It's going to be for possible swaps, and we can be a custodian for that, like an escrow for funds and crypto and stuff like that. So there will be servers. I don't know if we talked about this today, Ben. It seems that there's so much going on every day. It's crazy, but yeah, there will be a section for servers, and those are the ones that we're going to be building and stuff like that. But if Dave, for instance, built out, like if Dave has, Dave has a million of these beautiful custom wired precision towers in his garage, and if Dave wants to sell one of those, he can list it and throw it up there, and you don't have to worry about eBay or anything like that. We'll take a small fee, but it's going to be comparable to like Dream Escrow. You know what I mean? It's going to be like a fourth of what eBay is.
That's nice. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it'll be a lot cheaper. King said I was away. What did Mike leak? Not really much, King. Just that we're going to have full back-end access from AWS, and we're going to start doing wireless internet providing to the local residents around our data center and all that kind of stuff. So,
well, King's making, he's also making those, he makes them too, the ones that we use.
Yeah.
The Dell Precision workstations, he makes them and he'll make it and basically like almost like a plug and play for the customer.
Yeah.
So whatever RAM's allocated, everything else, and customer just basically he ships it out. So it's really, really cool what King does. And obviously King is working with me because of proprietary, cables to make it easier and stuff like that for the end user. So we've been doing that too. So it's really cool, We're all trying to think of something that can make someone's life a little bit easier, or that makes sense, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's
100%.
what we're trying to do, all of us. Terra, my company, the cable company, and everything else. So we're just
And that's an important thing too. If you
yeah.
need like a server, or if you're wanting to jump into this just with like just say a 3090 or something like that,
right.
Hit up King. He can build this for you, and he's going to be using cables that are made by Dave to make it work and make it safe and everything like that. Because all these workstations are proprietary, so Dave can make all the cables for it, and then we can plop it in Terra's data center for you guys.
And that's another thing too, being in the data center, because I only give, what is it, like a 30-day warranty or something like that, or something, 30 or 90 day. I forgot what the warranty is. It's something like that, because I don't know where these cables are going. It's just,
Point, yeah.
these things could be going outside in someone's backyard or something like that, like literally over a tent or something, right? So
yeah.
With that being said, so like we already talked about it, and this was talked like last year when you guys had when you first got the data center. The cables, if you guys are using my cables and they're going to Terra, that's a year warranty without a question. Because I know that the facility is maintained. I understand what they do there. I've been there a couple of times. So it's like, I know how it works. And so I know that the longevity of the cable is going to be perfectly fine in that type of environment. I can't say like, the average customer, I don't know what you guys are doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's another part. That's another plus too. When you guys have my cables.
Yeah, that's a huge point there, David. You don't know where your stuff is going.
Right.
So it's hard to warranty it. I think we spoke about that. I think, a couple times. I remember for GPURisers, it was a warranty claim, right? And I've never actually turned down a warranty claim on GPU, even after a year. Unless it was returning a frame or something like that after a year. But there was someone who like contacted me saying like 3 out of the 6 risers went bad or something like that, and I was like, well, can you just send pictures and stuff, like trying to figure out what went wrong, because there's no quality issues with that batch or anything like that, and from the testing and from this is like a couple months after, right. And the guy sends me a picture, and it's a couple pictures, and it's literally a rig that's just like it's pretty much outside. it's like on a like the sun, like it's literally was like a patio outside, right. Where like if it rained with a little bit of wind, it's going in there.
It's crazy.
It was just nuts seeing this, that someone was running that in there. I was just like, this is like, no, I can't believe how do you know it's the risers? Like the whole thing looks like it was found in the Titanic. Like, but that's just crazy. And you don't know, because you said with your wires, you don't know what people are doing with them. You know what I mean? Like it's nuts. But
it's made for your average, to do whatever you need to do with them, right? They're made to be in, not everybody's garage is going to be temperature controlled. Not everybody's basement may not be temperature controlled. It could be like an unfinished basement. So there you're going to have more moisture. You're going to have more humidity. So like certain people, they will take care of it. And then certain things, they're just like, okay, it's working, right?
Yeah.
Until it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah. Until it's huge problem. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it's all tin copper, but it's elements, and it's written in my website and everything else. So it's not like trying to be like, oh, I just don't want to. I want to give you a short warranty and that's it, because they're not going to work. That's not the case at all. You know, I've been around for over a year. Yeah. Without a question, I've been around. We have content creators that still use my cables that I made literally by hand with a hand crimper.
Yeah.
That are still being utilized right now with my hand crimper. That was like, hey, check this out. This is look cool. So, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's good stuff, though. I love the community. Everyone's so supportive, and we'll see what next year brings. We're almost there, man.
Yeah, 2024.
Holy crap. Jesus.
Mining Kiing said, GPURisers, great to know that you're going to be the coder for that. Yep, 001101. No, we're not going to have a back end.
Right
back
end.
So
it's extra.
Yeah. Let's see. Second TL Mining. GPURisers. Any timeline for the Terra AI shop? Keen to pick up a service like that instead of shipping my rigs. Soon. I'm just kidding. I guess if we had to give a timeline for it, it would probably be about 2 to 4 months. It's in the works, right? Like it's where, like I said, a lot of this company changed recently in the last couple of weeks, all for the good. So there's a lot of stuff in the background that's going on, and I can share a little bit with you guys. But I'm not going to say how the sausage is made, but we're working on it. These websites are actively being, I don't want to say built just yet, but it's in the pipeline, and it's going to happen. So we will have, setups like this. A big thing that we're doing also at Terra, I know this is like a Terra shill episode for you guys, but I guess it's a business show, right? So we're talking about our businesses, but yeah, we're going to have a baseline compute at Terra. We don't know exactly what it's going to be yet, but we are going to invest as a company in baseline compute. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, it's profitable, right? Like, we're all doing it right now with our, vast rigs and stuff like that. But also some of these, companies, and this isn't like set in stone or anything like that, but I think Flux is the same way, where you can cluster and almost have like a pool. But a lot of these other companies, you need like some kind of, like, to get in the door with them, you have to have X amount of compute, right? I don't know, however many cards or whatever it may be. You need X amount of compute. But if we have baseline compute at Terra, and then you come in as a customer, you might be able to get access to that side with only having one rig. You might be able to be a part of that because we have our baseline compute that's contributing to it. So we're doing that for a couple different reasons, but long story short, second TL Mining, I know I'm kind of ranting about that. Yes, the shop will probably be about 2 to 4 months. And we, like we're doing now, right? We're kind of easing in 20 people. We might, advertise prior to the website launch or anything like that we do have X rig for sale or something like that, but we'll see how it goes. But let's see. Crypto Design Studio, those cables will last outside no problem.
Oh yeah, I mean, they would, but I mean, I'm not advocating this at all, but I'm just saying that, they're tin copper, so the pins are tin too, but it's just the elements, man. Anything that humidity is a killer. Yeah. So not having, not controlling the humidity, that's key right there. So but
Mr. Hawk Crypto, what's up, Mike? How you doing? Hope your dinner was good and your grandmother had a happy birthday. I went to Mike's son. I don't know if you want the name out there. His son was baptized on Sunday, so my fiance and I went, and it was a really good time hanging out with Mike and his family, and the mother's family as well. It was a great time. Bacon, eggs, and hash. Are you just test marketing this, or are you planning long term? This right now is a market test, right? Show demand, show our networking capabilities, our everything really, like how we're going to set up the data center. We actually, this is also kind of premature, but we might be getting all the cases soon for this stuff, so that like if people just wanted to send us like hardware, we could do it and kind of do a rental, kind of like we're doing with R8s and stuff like that. So because it's always kind of weird finding a case for this. Again, that's not set in stone. We're working on something right now for it, but this is testing the market. It's testing the networking, testing the everything. We don't want to just open the door and start having these things flood in and then we have an issue. We rather have it kind of isolated down, and in turn for being a little guinea pig, which again, we don't anticipate any problems. Like you shouldn't have any problems being up or reliability or anything like that. But to be a guinea pig, you get this low rate, and this rate is very competitive. Again, I know it sometimes shocks the conscience a little bit, but it's better than what you would find at any data center. Homebrew Crypto. Did Flux pay you guys anything for standing up the Titan nodes? No, they did not. It is our hardware. It's owned by Terra. We built them. And we basically lease them to Flux like a data center would, except it's we always call ourselves a community-driven decentralized data center, and that's exactly what we are. A lot of these node hosters out there, I'm not going to name names or any, but I don't want to say all of them, a large majority of them host on centralized data centers like AWS, Hetzner. That they rent these monster Epic servers, and they splice it up and they sell it to you. So that's not really true decentralization. You know what I mean? And also we can beat those prices too. Our prices are going to be the lowest or match the lowest for Flux nodes. Actually, we did just buy a big boy server. It's a big boy Epic server. I don't know the specs on it. I know it's a lot. It has like 2 terabytes of RAM. It's like a monster. I got to be really careful with it, but I'm going to drive that up. That should be up next week, but not for sale, probably the week after. But I think on that server alone, it's like a 2U server. We'll be able to get, don't hold me to this, but something like 10 Stratus nodes and also 16 Nimbus nodes from that single server. So we will have that up soon. Right now we only have Cumulus nodes for sale, $10 a month. And there's no like year contract. If next month you're like, this isn't for me, then you don't have to renew the nodes. So that's exciting. We have that coming to Terra soon as well. But no, they didn't pay us for anything except for the node hosting for Titans, of course. Let's see. What do we got here? Hawk Crypto Mining, GPURisers, you baptize them, tell people. Yeah, I mean, I baptize them. I'm the godfather. But it's, I don't know. I don't like saying personal stuff on, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But yeah, I dunked Mike's child's head into the holy water. So it was a really nice day. It was nice doing that. And lunch was good. Everything was good. Good day. Good day. Retro Mike, hey cable guy.
Retro Mike.
But yeah, so I know I've been kind of ranting about Terra a little bit.
It's a business show. That's what we said.
Yeah.
We
So
can talk about ourselves a little bit, I mean, It is what it is.
Yeah.
You know?
And
there's a lot of information there, though. That's news for the community. If they're interested, they want to get into something. You guys have set it up for them. 25 cents a kilowatt hour. And that's it. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to worry about making sure, your rigs are getting too hot or whatever. It's going to be in a temperature control facility, and just log in like we log into our vast AI console and just see the money coming in. That's it.
Yeah.
But just, do your research. We all have to do a lot of research. We're still doing research on like how, like, oh, do you think I should put it up another penny? Do you think it'll get rented? Or holy crap, it's been a couple of days. How come it's not being rented, or whatever the case may be? We don't know the answers. Nobody knows like the fine answers. Maybe other people that have like, I don't know, 8 or 10 freaking 4090s.
Yeah, I don't know who has that many. That's crazy.
I
have
18 4090s.
Yeah. So it's but yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to buy workstations like that, definitely hit up
the Mining
Kiing. I always use their name. So Mining Kiing, hit him up. He has these workstations there, and he can build kind of whatever you want. And like I say, he uses the TVM cables in there. And I know this is again a shilling thing, but like, each of my machine, I'll put it in perspective because I know people give Dave shit for pricing and stuff like that, but $30 for these wires honestly is a steal.
Crazy.
I'm not just saying that. I am a customer of Dave's too, but with these, especially with these cards and stuff like that, like my 2-card 4090 rig costs right around $5,100 to build. It's right there, and that actually includes me putting my own power supply in it. So whatever a 1600 watt EVGA would be on top of that, which are cheap now, I guess, right? These used ones. But I have to use 8 cables for the GPUs because each one's 4. 8 times 30, that's $260 for cables on a $5,100 rig. and that's the most vital part. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to, because these are full TDP. Like these cards are screaming. That's nothing compared to what the rig costs. You know what I mean? So it's don't use splitters, don't use cheap stuff or anything like that on this. It's worth it to build these things the right way, and that's also like a reliability thing, right? Like if I know that there's some people, because one of my good buddies that I started crypto mining with, he's kind of like this, where it's like, oh well, if the cable burns up, I'll just replace the cable. You know what I mean? I don't care if the rig's down for a day, because it's it's making money and stuff like that. But it's not like the Ethereum blockchain is like dinging you for reliability. You know what I mean? So that was always a fear for me, right, with mining. I remember the 3070 Ti's, I used splitters on them. Should not have used splitters, 100%. But I was using splitters like 250 watts. Stupid idea. But I was doing it because I'm like in the middle. You know what I mean? When it comes to that stuff. But whenever the overclocks didn't take on those things, I would have to, like, if I was sleeping or something, I'd have to wake up and go. I would have to go check it because there's 325 watts running on a splitter. And the whole time I'm thinking, like, this thing's going to catch fire. This thing's going to catch fire. So it's like it's not worth it when it comes to cables. Again, I know I'll always shill Dave, actually. I'm not going to shameless shill. But yeah, if I...
My buddy.
I buy my cables from you. He doesn't give me his Zelle information or anything like that, so I have to go on his website and put my name.
I hate when you do that.
Yeah, but like, it's $260 for two 4090s. Like that's the price difference. It would be stupid not to do it, honestly. Like I said, also with these power supplies, if you're buying used, or even I guess new ones, they're not really like, these designs are for older cards. Like they didn't have a 450 watt TDP card back then. You know what I mean? And everything like that. Or if you're using used ones like I am, I've had ports burn up from just cables that I've used for 4 or 5 years now, just because they've been bent this way, bent that way.
Well, there's a lifespan on cables too.
Yeah, 100%.
The cable's lifespan, any cable, is no matter how many times you plug it in and out. There's a certain amount of actually plug-ins, because those pins, they get stretched out and they don't make a good connection anymore. So people didn't know that, and I started following, like, and trying to become a little baby expert, I guess, on when it comes to making cables, basically.
Yeah.
Right? It's my business. I should try to know the most about my business than anybody else. I'm not perfect, but I was just like, wow, it makes a lot of sense. Heat expansion, cold, and everything else. It's a metal.
Yeah.
It's a tin copper piece of metal that basically can eventually fail if you don't take care of your stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
and in this field, I mean, like I said,
man.
it means everything, right? So like just say you do have your rig at home. Let's use that as an example, and you can run over and check it, right? You see it goes down, and you go over and you see that the 8 pin is burned on your power supply on either end, right? And then you look at it and you're like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Because normally with VAST, your reliability starts going down real quick, or any of these other platforms, you can just turn it off, turn it on, and just hope that like the reliability goes back near it. But if you're sitting there staring at a power supply with a burnt port, and you have to wait till Amazon gets you another one in 2 days, you might as well just unverify that rig. You might as well start over all again, and then you're unverified, and then so you have to rent the card for even less than what you were getting. So it's like, why even attempt to do that? You know what I mean? What like, I know I'm shilling you a lot, Dave, but TVM cables. On my Twitter, I post all these pictures on Twitter, but I use 8 of them on every rig for just the GPUs. And then I have the 2 CPU ones because it's a high powered CPU. So I have 2 of the orange ones. They're sick. They're cool. But we have Retro Mike. I like to use splitters on my splitted splitters. I probably have some pictures somewhere, Retro Mike, that I would never would have posted online of some of the spider webs that I've made.
Show it. It'll be awesome.
I think I had 12 6600 XTs and all the risers for each one powered by 6 8 pins on a I had 24 so it's 12 splitters on. Yeah, it was. I was doing YouTube videos, and I remember I was like, this one's not making the cut. This is not this is an awful thing to do. But yeah, I mean, we've been there. I've got an idea. Veteran Miner host an AI rig and pays in cables. Hey,
Nice.
deals can be made.
Anything can be made.
I bought some used mining hardware and got one Veteran Miner cable. I bet it's an OG cable made by hand. They are made by hand. You can check out his YouTube channel, Homebrew, if you haven't. He has some videos on there that shows like the process and everything like that. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Every
the
time
process of actually making them by hand, and then the one I actually have a video of making it with the machines as well. I mean, it's all made by hand, but then you have the machine for like the crimp and stuff like that.
Yeah, and they are beautiful. I know it's like the functionality is the most important part, but man, they look good. I bought some of the CPU cables from Dave, and I remember I went in my car.
Don't sell them on my website. You know that, right? I haven't even put like a SKU number on that.
Comment there.
Yeah,
I'm just like, hey, it's me again. You know what I mean?
It's so funny.
But I put all these cables in my truck, and I just put them on the ground. And I remember looking at it, I was like, these are going to shuffle around and get dirty, and they're going to get scratched or something. So like I went back in and got his bubble mailer for it, and like put them in the bubble mailer. So it's but bacon, eggs, and hash, inform and educate. Yes.
That's all we can do. That's all we can do. Like, I'm not saying you got to buy my cables, but at least do your research. There's stuff out there that maybe might not burn up or whatever, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, crypto mining has been before I even knew about it, okay? But when Ethereum came out and other, like, things started coming out, everything started getting hotter. More TDP, the cards are working even harder. And then I think, like, when I got into the space, and Mike, you got into space before me, but I think right around when I got into this space, this was a lot of issues, like a lot of burning cables. And I already saw that, because I was like, when I saw the cables that came, or you would order them for the breakout boards and everything, I'm like, yo, this is shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking at my and I'm very like, I don't know, my 1660 Supers, Mike. I was like, I don't want to use that cable for my 1660 Super. Freaking couple $100 card. I didn't want to use the cable for that. And that's when I started making my own cables. I was like, this has got to be a better way. So far so good.
Yeah.
Say on the cable. What?
I remember when I don't know when it was, but there was a time period within the last 7 years or something, but it was probably closer to now than it was later. But there was a time where Ravencoin became more profitable than Ethereum to mine. And everyone switched over to Ravencoin, and everyone's wires were like burning up left and right. You remember that? Yeah. Like, literally, everyone's just like, they're so stuck on their Ethereum overclocks of like 120 watts, and they switch over to Ravencoin. It's like 190 watts, and they were doing the stupid stuff like I was doing, where I was splitting this and splitting that, and people were like burning up left and right with this stuff. It was crazy. Just nuts, because Ethereum was so prevalent for so long that, like, it's almost like the hardware was created for that. You know what I mean? Like, is it in spec with Ethereum mining, because that's the only thing people are doing, and all the third party stuff. You know what I mean? Was always geared towards that, and it's crazy. But homebrew crypto, I will say, holding the cable, it feels 100 times better than an Amazon splitter. Yes, because it's one of those things you gotta see. If you were at any of the shows, Dave had his cables on display, like the flux cables and stuff like that. It's you could just tell. You know what I mean? It's almost like I don't know. It's like you can just tell when you're holding it. It's but like I said, it's functionality too. It's everything. It's the 360.
Detroit Irish was saying something. Did I get anyone to run a continuity test? So I was doing a continuity test on the 12 pins, right? And what I got out of the 12 pin connector, I think I was telling you this too. Did you know out of the 12 pin, there's only 6 pins that are actually live on that 8 pin? So it's dual 6 pin. And I want to do a test. It's a dual 6 pin, Mike. So that means, in theory, you could use a breakout board and just use 6 pins, because the other 2 pins are not even connected to the other 6 pins.
Yeah,
but they put They put dummy 2. I mean, I may have not tested it the right way, but it looks like they have 2 dummy pins on the 8 pin. So I wanted to do a test, but like if we were mining or something like that, like on the 3090, I wouldn't think about it twice. But now they're rented and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I just think they're dummy pins, honestly. And then I'm trying to integrate now. I'm trying to work with the 12 pins now. I think I was telling you that. I'm trying to see. I received some materials today, actually, and these pins are small, man.
Yeah.
Like that 12 pin is like a little baby pin. Like, why the hell did he even do that? It's so small.
I don't know.
Imagine.
I don't know why NVIDIA does what they do.
Imagine me crimping like a little freaking thing that you barely could see. It's just insane. So that's another project that I'm working on. I just right now is the time that I can work on projects and see what I can develop and see what we can do. You know, if I can get this to work right, I'm not making any promises, but if this works the way I think it's going to work, you're going to be able to have a 12 pin that goes directly into like an EVGA power supply.
That'd be, yeah.
You're not going to have a splitter. You're not going to have your 3 or 2 cables. You're just going to have your 12 pin right into the EVGA power supply.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that would be amazing. Yeah.
It'll be strictly for EVGA. And then if people wanted upgraded like 12 pin or something like that, we probably could do that too. But the whole goal is to try to least amount of breaks in a wire. That'll cause less resistance and better functionality.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to do. That would be huge if I could get this accomplished. I really, I remember I was telling you, it was like maybe I didn't want to kind of go that route of like maybe funding it like the first, trying to get a certain amount of money to get it funded, because if I'm going to try to do it by hand, maybe try to accomplish it by hand first, because that would just be for the 12 pin, but it's going to be like a lot of work. But I would need like another applicator. Like I don't need a whole machine. I would just need like the applicator that would be designed for that 12 pin. So like maybe like a pre-order if people are interested.
I think that's a good idea.
Sorta, you know what I mean? Because it's like I have so much money invested into everything else right now. I don't mind doing that and just giving like half price, like whoever, like what we could get to that goal, and then the people that whatever they bought 1 or 2 or 3 or 6, whatever, have like half price to start off, just to get it going, basically, just to get back to the community.
Yeah.
That would be huge.
I mean, that's a great way to test the market, right? I mean, like
right. That's exactly. Yeah.
I forgot what it's called, but it's like crowdfunding for it though. But you actually get a discount if it reaches a certain amount, and then they're all made. You know what I mean? But it's a way to fund it in the beginning, and it's also a way for people that are in early to get cheaper products.
Right.
So I think it's a win-win for that, 100%. So.
Maybe I don't know how you would go by doing something like that, but it's just like if I can get this and make it, and the community, this is something that the community is looking for, especially like the 4090s. I mean, I know you definitely wouldn't mind having that 12 pin instead of having to plug the cables into that 12 pin. Just have that 12 pin come right out, have the wires come out right into your power supply.
Yeah,
8 wires, right? 8 wires.
Yeah. Well, it's not so much the 8 wires. Like I'm okay with that. Obviously, it'd be better if it was less that they required on this, but it's the way that they position this 12 pin is like the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's like I have like big cases for these mining rigs. They're like the Corsair 7000D. Like they're big boy cases. I don't think that they actually make much wider cases. And I'm sure they do, right? But like you have to like when I close the door on it, I have 2 of them, but it doesn't make a difference because it's the width. That little 12 pin that's on there, Dave, like, because they always say, don't bend the 12 pin, right? That's like, oh, well, you're not going to have problems if you don't bend it. There's no way, like, when the door is closed, there's one 12 pin that's like a 90-degree angle up, and then the other one's a 90-degree angle down. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Why would they put it on the side? Not only is this GPU, like, everyone looks at, like, slot sizes, right? Like, oh, it's 3 slots or 4 slots. Like, they're getting bigger, but these things are getting wider. This is like, it's ridiculous. And then they put the splitter on the side. Is like, it's so stupid. Like I'm staring at my 3090 Ti now, and they have a splitter on it of some sorts. I don't know how this is set up. It's probably dangerous now that I'm looking at it, but it's on the back of the GPU, so that like it can just have as much room as it wants. There's so much room in a case, you know what I mean? And it can just float back to the power supply and be fine. But no, every 4090 has these things on the side of it. It's like the stupidest thing I've ever seen. So, because I think the 3000 series had the 12 pin, but it was like angled, right? Isn't it like angled where you plug it in?
It is angled. It's angled a little bit up. But that's why I don't even want to put the covers on it, because I don't want to put stress on the pins.
Yeah. No, I have to like get that glass thing and just slam it shut. Yeah, and hope that the magnet's gonna hold it tight enough. It's ridiculous. So hopefully they change it. But like you were saying with yours, it wouldn't have like this.
Well, you're not going to have that. Yeah.
Side,
well,
right?
you're not going to have the most you could have is 6 wires coming out of it. You can't double up in that 12 pin. You have to double up somewhere else. So I would double up at the other end, right?
Yeah.
So the 12 pin, you can't double up there because there's no room. On the regular mini JFit connectors that I usually use, with the Molex pins, you can double up the 16 gauge there. That's where you would double up, because sometimes I think there's places that might actually make cables, make those 12 pins or something like that, and they just may either solder extra pins or whatever the case may be. But I can do the double. I'm the one that's able to do double 16 gauge wires on a single pin.
Yeah.
So
you should just work at NVIDIA's R&D department, honestly.
That would be really, really cool, honestly.
Yeah. Well, if we get a partnership with NVIDIA, I'm going to be like, I know a guy. And who designed this 12 pin on the side of the card? Like, who did that? Why did you do that?
Fire room.
Actually, now that I think about it, why they did it, probably, maybe, is because these PCB boards are like short, right?
It's the room.
And the back of it's just open with a fan. Like, I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know. There's like a million other ways they could have designed this.
Well, what I've learned is that I think the way that PCB works, there's definitely 6 powers, but then legitimate grounds, I think there's only maybe like 3 or 4 grounds or something like that. And
so
then
what does that mean?
And then basically there's sense wires. The sense wires are considered grounds too, but they're actually sense wires to make sure that the cards can get like full TDP, from my understanding.
Okay.
So the sense wire is a ground. So basically it's like let's just say that if you had the smart power supplies, and then you can basically just jump those little cables together. They're sense wires, and if they don't see them, they don't give you a full TDP. But it's just to ground. It's just
interesting.
It's just to ground. It's not a big deal. Half price miner cables. Yeah, man. What it is?
Red Panda Mining.
I would do it. I would do like half price to get everything situated. So because the funding, I mean, I think it's about like, for me to come out of pocket right now, it would probably be roughly around like $35,000 to $4,000 to get this applicator, to be honest. And then that's not with paying the engineers to get them situated to make sure that the crimp is right. I don't know like the specifications. I could read the PDFs and get it all done myself, but it's just not worth it, Yeah. Get somebody that specializes that can do it for me efficiently and effectively, so I can get up and running as fast as possible. But I mean, it's not a big deal, but you just got to make sure everything is allocated, because the way the punch down, it goes down. It has to go down it has to stop after it comes down. You're talking about a 2-ton press, man.
So would you be able to do like the 12 pin to like a server breakout board, or would it just be like the EVGA? Or I guess you could do either.
Do anything. It doesn't matter on the other end. I can do anything. It could plug into anything. So then if you want to put it on a breakout board, a 6 pin, that means you just double up the pins. But like I said, these aren't 8 pins. I would have to test. I would like to test yours and do a continuity test on one of yours. But nobody's gonna have like a 4090 like plug laying around. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you could buy them like on eBay or something, right?
Yeah, they're not cheap though, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, no, I'm saying you're saying that you need the actual one that came with the 4090.
I would like the one that came with like an FE.
Yeah, they probably sell them,
Like an FE. I would purchase an FE one through NVIDIA or something like that, just to do continuity tests, just to see what they got going on. That's all. I mean, it's not a big deal. But I mean, a 12 pins to 12 pins. I don't think they're changing the engineering. They're just doubling up inside those connectors, Mike.
Mm.
You can't add anything. So what's the most you're gonna get? 6
Yeah.
powers. If you really put it in perspective, that's what they're doing. 6 powers all the way into all those cables and distributing in the mix. That's all.
Mm.
It's cool stuff, though.
Very cool.
I want to get into it because I know we've been talking about this since like almost day one. Remember, like I was like, I'll just do the other connectors right now, and it seems like more and more people are. I've been having a lot of people ask, but I guess not to the extent of like, you know what, I'm just going to spend all this money right now and just go for it. You know, I went for
especially
it
since like right now, like I'm an example of this. Like right now, I can run 4090s with your cables.
Right.
But there's still that weak point, which is the one that came with the cable, which is crazy.
Right.
But it's, you know, I think that there would be a large amount of demand. I think the best thing, you know, and again, this is a business show, right? So the best thing, I guess, would be to, as a company, crowdfund it. You know, see, like, once you hit that goal, then boom, you know, you can press the button, you can buy that applicator, and you can start pumping these out and getting, you know, not brand awareness, product awareness out, and because I know I've talked with a lot of these AI guys just through because of Terra, you know what I mean, like trying to test the market and learn as much as possible on how these guys do it, how it works, and blah blah blah. But they all complain about that splitter, they all hate it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of these guys are paying for rack space. You know what I mean? So like, you can't put a 4090 in a 4U rack. You're gonna have to do a larger thing. Literally, you would have to add like another U on whatever case you're doing because of this freaking splitter. You know what I mean? And that
I didn't think about that because you have no choice because it gets like a big ball, right? And
you just slam that thing down on it as hard as possible. Just hope that it doesn't snap. It's awful. We have one customer. He had some cards that I was working on in Kansas, and they were 3000 series cards, but these splitters just broke. Just completely. I think he had like 4 founders, and I think 3 of them were broken. And it's because it wasn't obviously my fault. I was handling them safe, I promise. It's because when they were installed, the case on the Optiminer, you have to like shove that thing down. You know what I mean? So then like I don't know. It's just so stupid. NVIDIA came out with that thing, that PSA about the cables. They're like, well, just don't bend it. Don't bend it. And it's like, you need a case this big to not bend it. It's so stupid. But I know Detroit Irish. I just didn't want to say it. I don't want to like call people out, but they were 100% Detroit Irish. Now they're breaking my shit. Yeah. I'm sorry, man. It's literally as soon as I took that case off of it, I heard like a crack, and it was the connector. Like 3 of the connectors completely just cracked. Like you can't even. I don't know. And then yeah, they're slammed in that case for that long, and it must have just bent all of it over time with the heat and everything like that. I don't know. It's crazy. But yeah, that was interesting. Mr. Panda, I'm placing an order soon.
I'd say hell yeah. Panda doesn't just DM me. It's not a big deal. Get
Oval Vortex, I need 30 more cables for a 20 GPU build. What are you building, Oval Bore?
Yeah, what are you?
You're always up to something.
30 more cables, 20.
Let us know what you're building.
Wait a second. Is that 3070s? Is like I saw a whole bunch of 3070s. What are we doing? Send a pic.
GPURisers. We'll just blame Blue Dragon. He just changed pads on that rig.
But it's exciting. So I have the cable. I have those pins in my hand right now. I have the connectors. I already tried to do. It just didn't come out exactly the way I wanted it. Because my cables are thick, you know. So my 16 gauge is pretty thick. So got to figure that one out.
Yeah.
I gotta trial and error. You know, I'm so engulfed with this freaking 7810. Like I need to make it work. I'm an electronics guy, man. So it's like I can't be defeated with it. I mean, or I'm just gonna burn the fucking thing up. That's what I'm telling you right now. It's like I need to get this to work. Yeah. That 7810. But I don't know. I think that's a really good idea. No one. I've seen maybe some individually sleeve cables, but you can see how they individually sleeve them. It's actually 6 pins to 6 pins, and they just put it on a +2. But the +2, there's nothing in the +2. It's
just
fucking
magic.
crazy.
It's just magic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that safe for 450 watts? Or some of these are 600 watts. Like the Supreme X's that I have, they have a BIOS that's 600 watts. Is that safe with the 12 pin on how this is?
I don't know. That's the thing, because this is not like regular. This is not a norm. Like you have.
But
all
it's,
you
it's
have
two
is
6 pins, right? Is that what it would
all
look
it
like? It
is.
would be a 12 pin to 2 6 pins on like a server breakout board. That's what it would look like.
2 6 pins, yeah. Like
That's crazy. That oh my god! Because all the cables that are out there right now would burn up instantly with that. Running 300 watts through that, or even 225 watts running through each 6 pin that's a lot. That's like a lot.
What I found is that those extra 2 pins, Mike, they didn't. There was no continuity on it. There was nothing. It was completely blank. They are faked 2 pins on this on this NVIDIA thing. Now, I don't know if anybody can tell me, if anybody understands how to basically do a continuity test on that 12 pin to the dual 8 pins, and tell me if I'm missing something. Please let me know, because you see them online that they're selling them for like 35, 40 bucks or something like that, right? That they individually sleeve them. It's a 12 pin to 2 freaking 6 pins on each side. 6 pin one side, 6 pin on the other. But they have an 8 pin. They have a 6+2 pin. Yeah. But they're not even jumped over from the grounds at all.
We're gonna need 8 gauge wires soon.
This is fucking crazy. Well, he says, Retro Mike saying Gocha runs 225 watts through 6 pins.
Is that why those are all on fire?
No. I mean, okay. Like, how do you explain this? I have the APW3 and APW7 wires, right, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
There's a shit ton of current going through those 6 pins. A crap ton. I mean, over 225 watts each 6 pin. Those are my wires, though.
Yeah.
But the rule of thumb, an 8 pin is supposed to handle. Well, it was made for theoretically 255 watts.
Mm-hmm.
An 8 pin. That is like an ATX standard.
Is that dependent on the wire gauge, though? Also,
I mean, it should be, but I mean, no one. There's a lot of like the gauge is 18 gauge as a standard.
Hmm. Oh, Vortec is saying 6 pin and 8 pin handle the same current, 3 12-volt pins.
Yeah, he's saying the 3 amps for the 12 because you don't count the amperage on
the two.
You don't count the amperage on the ground wires. You count the amperage on your 12 volts. It's still 12 volts.
Yeah.
There's only 3 12 volts. You say 3 amps, right? So it's 9 times 12. What does that come out to be? Is that the right math?
9 times 12.
Yeah, or they do
114. Is that what it, or 100? Is that 114? I don't know.
Because I think they were doing the current draw on the ground too, or something like that. I think it's 3 point something amps.
108. Oh.
I thought it was like 3 point something amps. But if you just do 3 amps times 6, times 3 amps times 6 times 12 is like 216. So I'm missing something. It's 3 point something or something like that. It has to be. They do it on the full current draw, from my understanding. I should know this. I just can't think right now. But I read the Molex things for the pins, and they tell you what the pins are rated for. Yeah. Because electricity actually travels from ground to positive and stuff like that. So, fun fact.
Ecovault Trades. What's up, Goat? I don't think I said hi today. I'm sorry. I did see you earlier.
You said I'm sorry.
I have a 12 gauge. Wait, I think we're talking about different things. Yeah.
That's funny.
And maybe Dave will take a 12 gauge to that server if it doesn't work out.
I'm telling you, seriously. I have to get it. I have to get it to work though. So
yeah.
Yeah.
But I know we're gonna probably wrap up here soon. But I did just want to talk real quick about the crypto markets. What do you think about all this, Dave?
Bitcoin.
It's booming.
It's booming. I put a Twitter thing on there. Tweet. I put a tweet on about Bitcoin because I'm a believer, you know.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy seeing all this. It's nuts, but it's kind of good. It's I was watching one of Panda's videos the other day. I try to keep up with everyone's videos as much as I can, and he's buying tons of GPUs, I think, and he mentioned that this like feels a lot like 2019. You know what I mean? And I feel the same exact way. It's it's just where Ethereum's like barely profitable, just like Dynex is like you're riding that line right there, and then all of a sudden you start hearing things in the news with this is happening with Bitcoin, this is going on, and all this kind of stuff, and now we're seeing jumps right with crypto and Bitcoin from all of this stuff that's going on, and it feels eerily similar. I think that's what Panda might have said, something along the lines of that. And I feel the exact same way. It feels like that. You know what I mean? And so I think it's normal to feel kind of that because the halving is the halving, Retro Mike. But the halving is coming up here in what, 6 months or is it 8 months? I don't know. It's something. It's 10:45 here, so I'm already halfway asleep. But it's coming, you know what I mean? And I don't like to do market speculation and stuff like that, especially with crypto, because crypto can be manipulated by any foreign entity, right? I'm not calling out the Communist China Party, but it could be manipulated, right? That's not a crazy thing to say. But there's never been a time where after a halving, Bitcoin just didn't go parabolic. You know what I mean? It would be an anomaly if it didn't. And, based on all-time highs and stuff like that, I was working actually with Mining Kiing earlier today on some work-related stuff. But part of that was, anticipating the halving and everything like that. And I think it was like, based on the last two, Bitcoin would top out at around anywhere from 220, 260,000 per Bitcoin. That would be if it was related to 2017 and 2020 and everything like that. So it's interesting. You know what I mean? It's I like I said, I don't like to speculate or anything like that. I'm not like a crypto trader or anything like that. I do have a background in finance with investments and everything. That's what I did in undergrad. But and I've always watched it. I'm active with the stock markets, but I don't like to speculate on stuff like that. But saying that, it would be an anomaly, and I believe in patterns and stuff like that. So it's, I don't know, optimistic a little bit here. Red Panda is looking for 3070s and 3080s, 12 gigabyte cards. Everyone message Red Panda Mining at the same time on Discord and let him know what 3070s and 3080s that you have. Let's see, what do we have here? Goat GPRs. Hey, CCP and BTC rhyme, coincidence? I don't know, Goat. I need to have like a tinfoil hat somewhere here so that once I start going on these things, I could just plop it on. But yeah, I mean, crypto can be manipulated by any entity, right? And stock markets they're regulated, right? Unless you're a hedge fund or super rich, you can't manipulate the market. You know what I mean? You can't halt trades or anything like that. So, but with crypto, it's just free game, whatever. You know what I mean? Iran can come in and be like, "What? We're gonna try to make some money on this," and everything like that. So, again, tinfoil hat theory. What? I don't know. Not financial advice.
Oh man, good stuff.
But yeah, that's kind of, or Goat said, history doesn't repeat itself, but it sure does rhyme. Yeah, it doesn't repeat itself, but there's patterns, right? So it does rhyme. So maybe that would be my reason for believing it, I guess, is if it rhymes. But yeah, I don't know. Interesting stuff, Dave. But
yes, sir.
looks like this stuff from BlackRock is probably going to go through, but I guess what happened, they listed it, like IBTC was listed for the iShares, and then they took it down, and then it reappeared, I think. I honestly haven't looked today. I haven't read any news today. But it's I think it's coming.
I've been sending Bitcoin rattling, you know.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
So this might be a big one, you know, this mixed with the halving and everything like that. I mean, this might be a big one. So we'll see.
Time will tell. That's my famous words.
Exactly.
Dude, I'm getting a shirt. That's it. I'm coining that. I always say that. Time will tell. I'm getting a shirt that says
Time
that.
will tell. Yeah.
That's
Time will tell, Dave.
It's mine.
I think mine's alrighty.
Alrighty. Yeah. You know what? You need to get your shirt and I need to get my shirt, and then we just need to put it on our live stream or shirts.
Alrighty.
Hey, meet Alrighty and Time will tell. Welcome to our show. Oh, it's getting late. We're getting silly.
Yeah.
Now, huh? All right.
I think we're gonna probably wrap it up here, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure. It's every week it's more fun. Me and Dave, when we're not on stream, we talk often, and we always talk about how we enjoy this. So we really do appreciate everyone watching and stopping by and tuning in and questions and all that kind of stuff. It's fun. You know, I sat back a lot in 2016, 17, just watching Panda and writing everything down that Panda did, and just being obsessive about Panda. No, I'm just kidding. But I always kind of wanted to be a part of the community, and so it's crazy to look back and see kind of where we are. You know what I mean? Chat with all you guys.
Oh my God,
DMs on Discord and in person too. We met a lot of you guys in person at Cypherpunk. It's just it's awesome, and we love it. So thank you so much for tuning in, and you know, we really appreciate it. And next week, Dave is hosting.
Yes, so, I'll be hosting.
He will be hosting, and I'll try to get a special guest in next week. I'll
promise, Mike.
Actually, we got to bug Jeff Key about it, because Jeff Key mentioned that they were going to time will tell. But Jeff Key was I think going to come on one of these and kind of I guess go over the wallet, and I'm going to keep bugging him about the proof of useful work stuff. But
maybe we'll get my buddy Frank on.
Yeah. Let me I'll talk to him.
Work on it
tomorrow. I'll bug him a little bit, and we can do a little segment for that so that you guys can meet meet Frank and everything like that. So exciting stuff coming, but time will tell, Dave. So
time will tell.
Alrighty. So we're gonna
we definitely gotta get on.
We appreciate it, everyone. We'll see you guys next week. And again, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thanks, guys.
See you next Wednesday. Take it easy, guys. Bye.
Later, guys.